Speaking to us about Venezuelans escaping
From communism.
from communism. Okay. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, afternoon. My name is Oscar, and for the things that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna donate some money to the Tea Party. And I'm proud to belong to the Tea Party here in Toronto. The second issue is that I'm proud to my tie. I don't know if you like my tie, but I do like the color of my tie.
I do too.
All right? It's a message. And the third one is this one. I don't like this president. I don't like Obama. I hate him. I hate him.
I've never hated in my life. I hate him.
And why? Because he's part of the communism system in the world.
Yep.
Clear. Because I'm clear about that. I don't know if you need some explanation about how communism works, but I was a state rep in my country. I was an attorney. I was a school professor. And since the communism came, they said to me, I don't like you. You're out of the country.
Which
country? Venezuela.
Venezuela.
20 years ago. I was a fresh graduate from school, and I was at my practice on not real estate, it's human resources. I work with some corporations, and I was teaching in the same school that I got my degree. And as soon as Obama Chavez, that is the same, Obama Chavez is the same, they told me, out of the country or you go to jail. And that's the reason why I'm speaking to you here. Because like 2 months ago, I was talking in Lauderdale by the sea where my wife has a business, and I was talking with some audience there, and I talked to a lady. And Anita knows this, and Nancy and Rafael too. And I told her, I'm very concerned about what's going on here in USA. Because 25 years ago, in my country, happened the same. Oh no, don't worry. Communism, they don't take power. They don't have a chance to take the power in my country. And you know what I told the lady? I said, listen, if you keep playing with Cuba, if you keep playing with Mexico, and you keep playing with Nicaragua, and you keep playing with all Latin America about communism, the communism is going to take USA. And she said, are you sure about that? And one of the ladies that was like there, she said, I'm going to give you my speech now. We have communism in Washington now. And I said, what? Yes, we have communism in Washington now. And the name of the communism? Obama. It's hard to believe, but I'm clear about that. And I'm 43 years old, and I don't tell lies, because if I want to become a member of the Tea Party, it's because it's straight ahead.
That's right.
Period. No comment. Thank you so much. No communism in America.
What are you doing?
No communism.
Talk about, no, Oscar, you have to talk about the people who are coming here and you know, what are we going to do?
And there'll also be Q&A. Okay, we're not letting Oscar out of here alive.
When I saw this, my blood started boiling. When I saw this, because I saw it 25 years ago, the same. No, don't worry about it. He's not going to take power. We can change him in 5 years. Don't worry. He's inoffensive. It's not going to be a problem to take him out.
How did a bus driver become the president of Venezuela?
Well, it's because they need a ghost. They need a stupid people there to control the power. Castro communism.
Yeah.
No, Venezuelan government. No, the one that rules, as an attorney I have to say this, the one that rules the country is Cuba, Castro communism government. So they need somebody like that. They say, this is your speech for today. Everything about capitalism, everything about everything about the capitalism, everything about the USA. What's the matter with the USA? Nothing. It's just that they say that just to keep the head news. That's it. But the real truth, the ones that rules the government in my second country, because I became a USA citizen in 2012 to fight against communism, is Castro.
Okay, Oscar.
Not the bus driver.
What are you doing to help the people? We need to hear about this.
I work here at the Venezuelan Western.
Little side note, just so everybody knows, this man introduced Joe Kaufman to all of the different Venezuelans through South Florida to try to help Joe Kaufman's campaign. This is what this man did.
That's correct. I helped Joe Kaufman. And I called him to come over here, and he said that he was going to Orlando, something like that. And the point is that I work as a director of the Venezuelan Western Group in Broward County. Broward, not just Weston. Weston because most of the people live there, but we have people that live here in north of Fort Lauderdale, people that live in Pompano, people that live in Davie, people that live in Margate, Venezuelan people that flew from the communism. And as a director, I do a lot of help to make Venezuelans get the green card, and after the green card, become citizenship, and then I sign them in the Tea Party or the Republican Party. That's my job.
Another side note, just so everybody knows mathematically, with the Cubans, number one, since they've arrived, and I've said this before, in 1984, 90% of the Cubans voted Republican, Ronald Reagan. Now, after a generation, in 2008, only 75%, but it's still the highest. The only other group of Hispanics above the 50% level is the Venezuelans, because they have had communism, just like Castro. So what we're talking about here, he is leading the conservative movement for people in Venezuela coming to this country.
Thank you for that. Go ahead.
Speak up.
Okay, I'm Cuban, I'm not Venezuelan.
Oh my goodness.
And what he means by the Cubans is there's over 100,000 Cuban infiltrated, or actually not infiltrated, they're actually in the government. They actually make the rules, the laws, and that's what the problem is happening in Venezuela. And you can talk a little bit more about that if you like, that's fine. And then one of the things today, because I'm Cuban, I'm hoping that somehow Venezuela turns democratic and Cuba turns democratic again. I read the news about Cuba, that they overturn Castro and they become democratic again someday. And what I read, so I stay up with the news in Venezuela, and today they were showing people going to the vets to get shots because there's no medicine in the hospitals. And it's really that bad. And they had, one of the presidents of Venezuela today had a show, a political show. They had a big line, like about 500 people waiting at this empty store with no food. And they came in about 11 o'clock this morning. I don't know if you knew about this or not. And they put a show. They filled up the store with pictures, and they said, oh, there's nothing going on in the country. And this is what they're actually showing on the TV in Venezuela for people to get brainwashed.
That's correct, that's correct. That happens every day. It's a big lie. Not like the Tea Party that is straight ahead. Communism? Ooh. Tea Party, Republican? Yes!
To answer your question, one of the reasons why the new Cubans are not voting Republican is because we have a lot of infiltration from new Cubans coming from Cuba. They come here for, I believe, my opinion, that they're here planted just to send money back and help because they're so broke over there.
It's actually twofold, and I'm not Cuban, but my Cuban
Central
friend,
America.
twofold. Number one, at the table from what happened, when the original Cubans came, what happened, these grandparents are dying off. They're not hearing the stories at the dinner table. Now, young Cuban coming up in this country, they become Americanized with these liberal professors. So that's one of the reasons there. The other is exactly what he's talking about, because you know what? There's infiltration happening. The older Cubans are not happy with some of the newer Cubans coming in because they're not taking the values of America, and
It's not only that, it's that they're the new millennials too.
I was watching a CNN show the other day, and there were 4 people that love Mao Zedong. They're communists. I mean, I'm like, really? I mean, I watch once in a while just to see what's going on in every other channel. And I was so mad and infuriated because these people are telling everybody how they believe and their beliefs, and they think, oh, it's wonderful, but in theory it may be beautiful and wonderful, but in practice it doesn't work.
Nope.
Poverty.
Okay, we have some questions here tonight.
Welcome.
You guys will share the
Oh,
mic.
yeah, share the mic.
Right, yeah, stay up here. Okay.
Go ahead, go
All
ahead.
right, 1, 2.
Hi, I wanted to just ask you if you have any contact with some of the Venezuelans who've had any contact with the Muslim communities of Iran? Because supposedly Iran has a big influence, or had a big influence.
I don't have any
with
contact.
Chavez.
I don't have any contact with the terrorism.
I was going to ask the
No,
same question.
no.
But I can
Honestly,
answer-
no.
Let me answer that question.
I was watching the news a few years ago, and Chavez was saying that they were building bicycles. Iranians at a factory in Venezuela. And no one has ever seen one bicycle yet. But what they did is they have airplanes going on a weekly schedule to go to Iran and Tehran or Iran or whatever. And they supposedly have carrying a nuclear
Uranium.
uranium.
Yep.
Yeah,
Alan West talked about this a couple years back.
Terrorism is in Venezuela. Let's be clear about that. Muslims are in Venezuela.
Let me tell you.
All right.
What Chavez did is he had them marry Spanish ladies, the Muslims that were coming, and instead of having the last name Abdullah, it would be like Fernandez, the last name. And they're the ones that are being sent through the border, and they're going over, like, going through Mexico.
All right, here we go. Question.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Question about nationalization. Commercial and personal homes and apartments. Any plans or action of nationalization? Explain a little bit about the fact of nationalization of property.
Okay, let's say that the young people, the same like happened to you. One father has 2 kids, and they call us. Oh, I want to take my kids out of the country because I don't like them to be taught about communism and terrorism. Okay, send them over here with a visa for a student. Right, so, and we take them, and then we go to the university and get the legal paperwork. Then, if they are enrolling to the university, they can work as a part-time in the same school. So we have to find a place beside the school because they don't have a driver license yet. So everything is connected. Everything is related to get them in the right field, in the right track, with the right people, to avoid them getting to the communism system, and then they're going to be another slave of the system. But we do help a lot of people in reference to getting them homes, getting them school, and getting them the legal paperwork.
Right here.
Did you just say that they are issuing student visa for the kids to leave Venezuela to come here?
Let's say that you want to take your kids out.
You could?
You can send them over here if they qualify in the school and be able to get the legal paperwork, and then they can get enrolled into, for example, my way. I got here and I got enrolled into paralegal.
Well, that's not easy. I come from a communist country, but that goes back several years. It was almost impossible to get out.
No.
Many of us had to sneak across the border
No,
because you took your life in your hands.
We can go out of the country, but we cannot sell our properties.
Well, I'm sure that's going to end pretty quickly. I'm sure they're going to keep all those people in
You know,
there.
a lot of big factories. I'm pro-business, and a lot of factories, a lot of corporations, just the government says, this is mine. Why?
Yeah,
Because
that's-
I'm the ruler here.
Communism.
That's what I was going to tell you.
Right.
It's very simple. They just come and tell you, it's mine,
Yep.
it's yours.
Communism.
And if,
Well, they nationalized everything. I come from Czechoslovakia. You couldn't even own a home. They took the home.
They took the home?
The government owned it and you paid the rent. There was absolutely no private enterprise at all.
let me make this point. They send you an inspector to your house. By the way, what's your name, man? Sue. I hope this never happened to you. This happened to me. They send you an inspector to your house and they said, I need to know how many lights you have in the house. That's not your business. You don't need to know how many lights I have on or off in my house. Well, I need to know that because I need you to save energy.
Agenda 21.
All right, so they get into your house and they say, 1 room, 2 room, 3 room, 4 room. All right, but you said that you wanted, no, I don't need the lights. I needed to know what I was looking for. Then they write down a report. And after 3 months, they said, you have 2 rooms empty. We, the government, wants you to get those 2 rooms for 2 terrorism people that we have here, and you have to do that. If you don't do that, you're out of the house. That's communism, sir. And do we think that we're playing with them? No.
Sounds like fascism.
They want to take control of the USA
Yep.
in real time. This is my warning. That happens to me and happened to all my family. I have a law practice taken by the government. I have a farm taken by the government. I have an apartment at the beach taken by the government. Why? Because I'm the ruler of everything in the country. Because I was an enemy. I was doing pro-business, and I am the enemy of the country.
Now they can only take your land,
Right
they can't take the house.
Right here.
Everything. Right?
Hey, Oscar. I'm just curious, like a two-part question. Since Maduro, since Hugo Chavez is gone and Maduro has come in, has anything changed for the worse or for the better? And 2, the protesters, we saw all the protesting going on about a year ago. What has happened to those people as far as punishment? Have they been eliminated? Anything that you might know about that?
Yeah, Rafael said something that is a clear point right nowadays. They infiltrate people into different parties. Into the opposition party, they have people there. I'm sure about that. So when the protesters were extremely high last year, once the government says, okay, we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to have a dialogue between the opposition and the government. And we said, no, the only way that we can talk with terrorism is to kick them out of the country. That's the only way that I can sit down with them in a table. But, they infiltrated the G2 Cuban from communism that is inside the opposition party. They said, no, we need to talk, because that's the only way that I can give them chance to recover. And the protester says, if you go and you sit down with the communism, we're out. So every people that were out in the street fighting for liberty and for democracy, they get, I'm sorry for my English, but I have to say, we get pissed off with the government and with the infiltrated G2. So yes, there is infiltration into the opposition party. 30% of the parties that become the big opposition, like a big group, MQD, we have people from the G2 Cuban that are just there to represent the communism government. That's why last year we couldn't keep him out of power. That's the reason.
Barry, to answer your question, by the way, the G2 will be equivalent to like a Gestapo in Nazi Germany. They're a very well-trained organization, and they use a lot of the same systems and methods that we use to put fear in people. By the way, just let me answer your question 1 second, and I'll give you the microphone. Today in Venezuela is National Casserole Day. The people are marching through the whole country. They're hitting pots and pans, complaining about no food. They're starving. Really, this is what's happening today. And there are 3 ex-presidents. One is from Colombia, one from Chile, and what is the other?
Costa Rica.
And who is the guy, the prisoner that they're going to go see in prison tomorrow? The guy that is in jail for over a year.
Leopoldo Lopez.
Okay, they're going to try to go meet with him, and the government is saying that these ex-presidents are murderers.
Yeah.
And they're there and they shouldn't be there.
That they belong to the terrorism world.
Don't give up your guns.
We won't. That's a good point. That's a good point, Anita.
It's my understanding that under communism, you have socialism plus atheism. And there's no doubt in this country, this Obama is going all the way socialist. And could he be atheist? I don't know. But what I'm saying is, do you feel that this nation is heading towards socialism? And you're right, but also atheism.
Sir, there is no difference between socialism and communism. There is no difference. It's the same, you know what? With a different name. Don't play with that. They want to take control of the USA.
Yep.
Communism, if we don't stop.
Right.
So you know what we have to do.
And
We have to get
I,
rid of the communists in our own administration. That's what we have to do.
and I do believe communism is atheism, what he's bringing up, because you know what? It is anti-God.
Absolutely.
And communism people, they speak beautiful. They teach you about the beautiful life that is the communism and everything. And they have their pockets full of money, no taxes, no nothing, just stealing. I don't like that. I don't believe in them. So there is no difference, sir, between socialism and communism.
Why do you think they're taking our crosses? Why do you think that they're taking everything out of the military, God out of everything, the schools that started there? Why do you think this? Because it's all part of the plan to take over America. Fight every day. Every day's a fight.
Go ahead, please.
One second, not only that, but they have taken over, not taken over, infiltrated the Republican Party.
Yeah.
These sodomites, okay, let's call it for what they are, what the Bible calls it, to defuse the party platform, which is great, and they've infiltrated them to become more like the Democrats. I'm telling you people, the Republican platform is worth fighting for. These Republican candidates and so on, not necessarily. So keep your eye on the truth.
Here's Raymond. Go ahead, Raymond.
Go ahead.
A little while ago, you were alluding to the fact that Venezuela was really a client state of Cuba in the same vein that Cuba at one time was a client state of the Soviet Union. And it seems to me that what they've done is they've really, the price of oil, and we have no idea what the political motives of the royal family of Saudi Arabia is. But I heard a conversation today where some knowledgeable people that said Ronald Reagan actively negotiated with Saudi Arabia to crush the Soviet Union.
Correct.
And it's kind of interesting that we don't understand that oil is a weapon and that we need to understand that. But more than that, what we have in this approach of changing the rules as respect to Cuba, it's real simple. Venezuela can no longer afford Cuba. They've run out of money. So it's another Marxist regime in the White House that has come to the rescue of a Marxist regime. And that's the reason that the United States has changed the policy towards Cuba.
Not only is oil
Throwing them
a
a
weapon,
lifeline.
so is
Throwing
food,
Cuba a lifeline.
so is health.
Oh, yeah.
These are the
Cuba
weapons.
doesn't have the
All
money
those things.
anymore.
Excuse
Oh, by the
me.
way, yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, not only is oil a weapon, food is a weapon. They're taking over our food supply. You can't even collect rainwater. You can't have a little garden anymore. I would have died had my parents and my grandparents not had gardens. Everything came from that. You know, these are the weapons today. This is communism.
Well, actually, America's been on the Fabian socialist trail since the progressives, Teddy Roosevelt on.
Right.
And the bad news is every time the conservatives win an election, and if there's any solution for this, man, I think it needs an answer. But there's always good news and there's bad news. The good news is we win. The really bad news is that the people leave government and they take positions in our public universities. And they train our children. Now,
Brain, poison our children.
Poison.
Now, what he's stating here, keep in mind, you cannot cut these Republicans a pass that are up in Washington.
No.
Okay? We already know all the Democrats are bad. If we get these people up in Washington, the Republicans that go against this, these people are ungodly. We have to primary their rear end.
Guess what Bob Dole's doing today for money? He's running a large lobbyist unit. That's Bob. Yeah, this is what these Republican pieces of crap are like. They don't care about us. They're self-serving.
Well, just one last thought, and I'll turn loose the mic. By the way, Barack Obama's not the first black president. That honor was given to Bill Clinton. Barack Obama's our first Muslim president.
Correct. And also, you know how many barrels the Cuban government gets from Venezuela for free? Give me a number, please. How many barrels daily?
How many?
Oil barrels. How many?
How many what?
Barrels of oil.
Oh, barrels.
Of oil. How many barrels of oil daily?
0.
Now you're wrong. 19 million, that's too much. 500,000 per day. For free.
Where? Who gets that?
From Venezuela to Caracas to Havana. For free.
That's our oil. They nationalized the U.S.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
One idea about why the price of oil has come down and why the Saudis have lowered their barrel cost is because ISIS has control of a large amount of oil now in Iraq. And they're selling the oil cheaply. And ISIS wants to go after Saudi Arabia. So it's just a thought that Saudi Arabia is competing for their life against this terrorist caliphate movement that Obama has put in place.
How about Iran?
What's the opposite?
Iran oil has dropped too. If they want Iran oil to go down.
Oil funds terrorism.
You know what? This is awesome. Where else can you go and get this?
Our vent.
Where else can you go and get this? I mean, this is just an awesome crowd today. It really is unbelievable. You know, our guests have been... Thank you, John Patchen. Thank you, John Patchen. Thank you, Janine. Thank you. We're not done here. I mean, if you can stick around for a few more... Lisa has a question.
Oh my goodness, here we go.
Actually, it's a comment. We're discussing God and why the communists are so intent upon taking God out of America. Think about it. When you talk about God, the Judeo-Christian tradition is the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not steal. That's communism. Thou shalt not covet. Isn't that how they're bringing communism in? They're turning one group against the other by coveting. The 1%. And so it's really important to realize exactly why God is being thrown out of the United States. It's not because we're tolerant. It's because the communists want him out so that we don't know what's going on.
Right. Here, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. In the notes that you're going to get from American Majority, these are bold people, American Majority. They're not...
We're going to be bringing American Majority into our thing here within the next year. Go ahead.
Don't get it mixed up with Americans for Prosperity. It's American Majority. These people are so right on. I mean, they're telling you, they're saying, they're telling you, they tell us how to do it. Guess what? 1 in 14 door-to-door changes a mind. Door-to-door is the most effective, followed by phoning, which they really don't like. Blog, all the time, daily. Write letters, okay? Guess what? They say go into wiki sites and edit it.
Yep.
You know what wiki is? You know what wiki is, right? Yes, you do. You know, you read it all the time. It comes up all the time. You Google someone's name and wiki has a report on it. Well, if you don't like it or if you know something more, you go in and edit it. That's what that site is, a wiki site.
Tell the truth.
Yeah, go in and say, just go in and change it, that's all. It says defend your candidate and his campaign. Get on the offense.
Yep.
Conservatives play too much defense. They are not trained for the offense. Dig up information on the left and opposition. Control and edit it online. Listen to this, you guys. This is what we got to do in the next 2 years. All right? Let's see. We got to go. Let's see. Be on the other side of the story. Humanize your story. What's best for stay-at-home moms? What's best for families? What's best, for people who've served in the military? Door to door, talk to people who have voted in primaries in the past. What's the most important issue for you today? You're all going to get this. These are just random notes that I took and took and took. You know what? Get out the vote effort can change 5% of the people. Door hangers are fabulous when there's no one home. As far as signs go, I wish you all could have heard the guy who they chose to speak about the Tea Party. He had all these signs. He held up a sign and he said, how much do you think this sign cost me? Because nothing was professionally done. People would say, $5, $3. He said, 16 cents. 16 cents, because he went out and he bought the block letters and all that for it. And he takes all of these signs that are left over from campaigns and all the wires that go on the ground and all that, okay? And so that sign, he paid $3 for the block letters, but this sign cost him 16 cents. And they're huge, they're huge signs, and he says, and this is a Tea Party guy telling the Tea Party what to do. He said, 2 days before you have a meeting, go out there and put it where the cars have to stop so that they have to read it. So you say, Common Core, parents, do you know what your child's being taught? Umberto's, 3 o'clock Saturday, and the address, or something like that. I mean, they're just, and I loved it. I loved what he had to tell us. There's so much more that we can do. We're not doing near enough. And we can all do these things. So let me put my glasses back on and see if there's anything else important I need to tell you. Okay. You knock on the door, you tell them who you are, then you use your influence. Everybody study Wisconsin. Study Wisconsin. What has happened in Wisconsin is huge. The blueprint that happened in Colorado, 2006, 2008, the takeover by the left with teachers' unions, immigrants' narrative, the right was caught off guard. Wisconsin is becoming the new blueprint of conservatives. And they say, strengthen the Tea Party. We are the only hope.
Yep.
This guy wanted to talk.
Oh,
go ahead, Pete. Go ahead, guy.
Give him that mic.
Caleb.
No.
Come on. Yes. Come on, Caleb.
Okay. You know what's about communism? About something why they want to take God out? It's because they want to be the gods. And you know what? I'm not going to tolerate any God but my God. And you know what? I have to say, America, yes! Communism, no!
Yes.
This is a homeschooled child, can you tell?
He's fantastic.
You're not running for office.
Okay,
I'm not running
Linda.
for office.
I'll be right back there, Raphael. Okay?
I just have a couple of quick comments about the communism. I experienced it 40-some years ago in Eastern Europe. Now these two gentlemen are now facing the same thing in South America. They will never give up. The communists will never give up. And also, just to show you how they hide the communism, the name of my country was the Czechoslovakian Socialistic Republic. And the only ruling party there was the Communist Party. So they call themselves socialists. That's why I agree with you. There's no difference. Socialism, communism, the same thing.
Same with the
Another quick point. I'm having a really hard time accepting our new Pope, and I'm Catholic. From Argentina, that man is a socialist. And there is something going on in the background of all this, because some of the things he is saying are just shocking to me. Even Rick Santorum, who is a big Catholic, made a comment that he's having a hard time hearing some of the things this Pope is saying. And I'm just wondering. And one more request I have before we adjourn today. Can you talk a little bit about some of the, I think, positive things in Florida politics that we just had?
Talking about me? Positive.
You know, I just want to say this. How many people here are getting Newsworth? How many people even bother to open it? You know what? I've been on the Pope for the last week. You know, it's don't criticize the Pope. It's it's the Pope's a Marxist, but don't And I try and be so fair.
She does a fabulous job.
You know what? I mean, I know the left likes the Pope all of a sudden. What does that tell you? That's right, Barry. I mean, that's honest to God the truth. And so I read that article with heartfelt stuff the other day. I read it with, the Republicans should not be criticizing the Pope. It's not really to their advantage. So I read that, I take it to heart and everything. And then, 2 days later, there's this thing blasting the Pope. Why should we give him a break? If he's a Marxist, he's a Marxist, and that's the truth. I don't care if he's a Pope. I don't care who he is, I don't care if he's a president. I don't care, Nobody is beyond reproach. Nobody. If you are a public figure, is beyond reproach. Okay, what? Okay, who else? Okay.
That was funny. Absolutely.
If it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it must be a duck.
Thank you.
These are Catholics talking about ducks.
Anyway, last week I was watching some commentators.
Everybody listen up, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
These people were on TV and they were highly believable sources. And the guy was saying that the plan for Obama to close Guantanamo Bay is already being given to Castro's. It's already given. They are going to take it back. And this morning I was listening, actually it was last night, I was listening to another one of the people talking. And the Russians are going to take over that base. And this week in Cuba there was an Russian ship in Havana. You guys heard about that? So they're testing the waters. It's all going to be given back to Castro, and the Russians are going to be taking over that spot. So I just want to make sure you guys know.
Don't give up your guns. Do not give up your guns. We're all going to fight together. Who's next? Steve, we haven't heard from you today. All right, you guys?
Oh, we got trouble now.
Hang out, guys. Hang out.
It's interesting about the Pope because Marxism and Christianity are diametrically opposed. Marxism does not believe in God. So if the Pope really is a Marxist, and it's looking more and more like he is as he, gives his opinions, then he's really not a Christian Pope.
Wow.
If you think about that, if he's a Marxist, he can't be a Christian.
Wow.
So something's hiding
How
in
many
that.
people here are Catholic? I mean, I just wonder, how many are Catholic here? Okay.
Think about it.
Is that all? Come on. All right. Now, all the Latin Americans are Catholic.
There is no God.
Hold on a second.
The Pope is out of the Jesuits, Loyola, and they
That's
denied the papacy forever because they feared that the Jesuits were too tied in with social and religious politics, and the church at least felt that a very dangerous thing is tying religion with politics, of which they blamed the Jesuits for. They were denied the papacy until this man came in. The other man retired. I don't know, conspiracy theorists. They put in a Jesuit who they know. The people put him in who know are basically very sympathetic with the socialist third world liberation policies. So if you look at him, he's a Jesuit. third world pope he put in. That's one. You got to look to that. Secondly, the battle fought, I got involved, the battle fought here. All the incidents are about the eternal battle between the free market and the socialist market. So what I would think is, I asked someone, I came to one meeting, a person from Breitbart said to him, why don't we at least make a battle that we can win? Open market, free market, liberty versus communism. Call the people who are, they call themselves the hard left, progressives. They are socialists, taking a socialist revolution in America. We, I think, have the obligation, at least I believe we do, to tell them they're socialists. Call them what they are. They're socialists, the president's a socialist, his cadre of people around are hardcore socialists. They don't like that term, they think it's derogatory, they will win, and we allow them to define themselves. If we, starting here, starting across America, tell them what they are, let them defend themselves, of which I don't think they can.
We are on the offense right now.
Well, even conservatism means, the definition is you hold on to something. If you don't move progressively, a rock in the ocean, assuming that's conservative, is eventually going to be worn down by the waves. Conservatism, by definition, means you're holding on to the past.
That's true.
You're not aggressive. We use conservatism, which I believe in, but how do you turn conservative to offensive? Not to hold on to something, but to be progressive and bring liberty, prosperity to people. So maybe we need to look at a definition, a different definition maybe of what.
Let's give him a hand. Was that good? Was that bunch of troublemakers.
Very well said.
I'm proud.
I just want to ask,
This is the major troublemaker. Here she goes.
All right, Donna.
right behind Jack, I just want to ask a question because I don't know, because I am not Christian. Has a pope ever been removed from office?
Yeah. The other one died in office. They poisoned him, so that's how they were removed.
They pushed out the previous
Go ahead. Because they have been
The previous pope, was it Benedict? Benedict, I believe, was pushed out. He was the first pope ever retired on his own. First ever that retired on his own. I don't believe he retired. We all loved him. All the conservative people loved Pope Benedict. I think he was pushed out for this Marxist.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, now we need to wrap this thing up here quickly because they need to turn this room over. Any new people that have not spoke earlier that would like to ask a question?
I just want to, listen, Oscar's standing up here. Did he do a job?
Let's give it up for Oscar. Look at John Patchen, I thank you so much. Janine Brasso, thank you so very much. You know, I'm going to tell you, our best meetings are when we don't have a star. I'm telling you. I mean, this was, where would you find anything like this today in America? Now, nowhere. Nowhere. So, I thank God for every single one of you. And next week's a big week. We're going to love it. We're going to have fun together. We're gonna rally at Nick's. You know, white tablecloths, $20 for the buffet. Don't miss it. Be there, okay? Everybody, thank you so much for coming.